every really big journey,
Yeah.
every story of huge success, it often starts somewhere tough.
With a challenge.
There was a challenge.
Yeah.
It's this idea of turning those struggles into strengths.
Right.
And building that kind of blueprint for making it happen.
Yeah.
Especially for young people just starting out.
Absolutely.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into a movement that, well, really lives and breathes this exact idea.
And what's really interesting, I think, is how this whole concept has been woven into like a complete ecosystem for learning and empowerment.
Right.
We're looking at from trouble to triumph. It's a movement that's really built on the idea that struggles don't, they don't define you. They actually prepare you for what's next, for success.
And that's what makes it so interesting, I think. This deep dive isn't just about, a nice slogan. We're actually tracing it back from its start as a book series to how it grew into this wider educational thing, and now even this new venture into gaming, which sounds fascinating.
And right at the center of it all is Howard Collins. He's the founder, the creative vision behind it.
Okay.
His background is actually in fashion and graphic design, and that's what kind of sparked the whole thing. He had this really clear goal: teach kids the basics of business, but make it fun, make it engaging, and importantly, relatable.
So where did it actually kick off then? The book came first, and what makes this specific book, From Trouble to Triumph, How to Start a Successful T-Shirt Business Company, different from, say, other guides for kids?
Yeah, it definitely started with the book. That's the core product. And it's different because it's described as a step-by-step guide, but it's wrapped up in a story, an inspiring story.
Ah, okay.
You follow this young character, also named Howard Collins, who basically turns his life around using entrepreneurship, creativity, financial literacy, and he has his mother, Grace, supporting him all the way.
Right.
So it's that mix of narrative and, practical advice that really hits home.
Yeah, I can totally see how a story makes it way easier to digest than just like a dry business manual.
For sure.
So when you talk about teaching kids business fundamentals, what kind of specific things does the book actually break down for them?
Well, it covers the essentials without being, too much. Kids learn how to create their own brand. So designing a logo, picking a name, thinking about their message. Then it gets practical how to actually make the shirts.
Like materials and printing.
Exactly. Choosing materials, different printing methods, different styles. And crucially, it tackles financial literacy head on. Pricing, managing money smartly.
That's key.
Definitely. And, of course, woven throughout is overcoming challenges. That's central to the whole Trouble to Triumph idea.
Okay, so connecting that to the bigger picture, it sounds like this is way more than just one book.
Yeah.
Is it really building out like a whole community?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just, here's a book, read it. It's about fostering connection and real-world doing.
Right.
They're actively building this community, future entrepreneurs, innovators, leaders. They have mentorship programs pairing kids with professionals.
Right.
And workshops that are really hands-on, like actually prototyping something or working on a business pitch. It takes the learning way beyond the book itself.
And it sounds like there's a social mission baked in too. How does From Trouble to Triumph give back?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Beyond just empowering the kids directly involved, a percentage of their proceeds actually goes towards other youth entrepreneurship programs and also cancer research.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of showing kids that their own success can help others rise too. It connects it to a bigger purpose.
That's a really strong foundation. And to kind of drive that message home digitally, I heard they created an official kids anthem, Bad Days.
That's right.
What's the thinking behind having an anthem for this?
Well, it's really designed to inspire that emotional resilience, build self-worth, and just keep reinforcing that core message, turn struggle into success.
Like a theme song for resilience.
Kind of, yeah. Like a modern motivational tract for kids, reminding them that, a bad day isn't forever and their dreams are still possible. It helps build that mindset.
Okay, and building on that anthem, they launched this #TriumphT challenge. What's the core idea there?
So this is presented by From Trouble to Triumph, and the theme is fantastic. Turn your dreams into a design.
I like that.
Yeah. It's basically a creative contest for kids and teens, ages 7 to 18. They're encouraged to design a t-shirt that shows what triumph means to them.
So it could be anything.
Anything. Overcoming a challenge, celebrating their culture, just dreaming big, whatever triumph looks like for them.
So how does it actually work? If a kid wants to enter, what do they do?
Okay, so they create their t-shirt design. Then they need to record a TikTok video. It could show them making the design or just the finished shirt.
Right.
In the video, they need to play or lip sync to that Bad Days song we mentioned. And crucially, add a caption explaining what their design means.
Got it. Hashtags.
Yep. Gotta use hashtag TriumphTChallenge and tag the official account at From Trouble to Triumph.
Yeah.
And there's one more thing for the official entry. They need to buy the From Trouble to Triumph, How to Start a Successful T-Shirt Business Company book, and show proof of purchase, like mention it in the video caption.
Okay, links it back to the core product.
Yeah.
And the prizes, you mentioned they're pretty substantial.
Oh, yeah, they're really motivating. First place gets a $2,000 Grace Alexander Scholarship. It's an art supply grant.
Wow, $2,000 for art supplies.
Exactly. But then, and this is really cool, the winning design actually gets produced, made into real T-shirts.
No way.
Yeah, produced by Howard H. Palms IP Collins himself. It gets featured in their online store, and the winner gets 60% royalties from the sales.
60%. That's huge for a young designer.
It really is real-world validation and potential income. Plus, the top 10 designs get featured in a special digital fashion show.
That's amazing. Real applications. And speaking of application, it sounds like they're pushing this even further digitally. I've heard something about an educational mobile game.
That's the next frontier, yeah. They're developing an educational mobile game. The idea is to adapt the book's principles into, like, a Shark Tank style simulation.
For kids, like a business sim.
Exactly. Aimed at ages 8 to 16. And what's really interesting is the game design philosophy behind it. They're using adversity-based learning.
What does that mean in a game?
Well, they call it the Trouble to Triumph framework. It involves things like failure mechanics. The game is actually designed so you can make mistakes.
Okay.
And you learn from the consequences, but in a totally safe, risk-free space. It's a really powerful way to build resilience, without real-world stakes.
So basically gamifying real business skills, but with a safety net built in. What kinds of practical concepts are kids actually playing with in this simulation?
It's all about age-appropriate stuff, financial literacy, basic business concepts, money management.
Right.
So players will actually practice skills like pitching an idea, learning how to present it clearly. They'll make investment decisions, maybe even manage a simple portfolio.
Wow.
Think about the experience they get, seeing how those decisions play out, all without risking any actual money.
That sounds incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
And technically speaking, you mentioned mobile-first cross-platform. Why Unity as the engine for this kind of educational game?
Well, Unity is really strong for this kind of project because it handles complex simulations and rich interface as well. That's pretty crucial for a detailed Shark Tank-style game, even for kids.
Makes sense.
It lets them build and tweak those unique failure mechanics and decision scenarios relatively quickly, keeping it dynamic and engaging for that 8 to 16 age range.
Right.
It's just a really solid, proven engine for delivering that kind of interactive depth, especially across both Android and iOS.
Yeah, that makes sense. User experience is key for learning. And how does the game actually count for the different ages, 8 versus 16? And what about parents?
Good question. It's definitely built with cognitive development in mind, so the skills kind of ramp up. You start with basic concepts and move towards more advanced business thinking as you progress.
A structured learning curve.
Exactly. And importantly, they're planning features for family engagement, so parents can be involved, maybe talk about the decisions made in the game, celebrate the wins.
That's smart. So how does the game loop back to the book's themes? And does it connect with the other stuff, like the TikTok challenge?
Yeah, that's one of the really neat integrations. The game actually encourages users to participate in the TikTok challenge.
Oh, interesting.
It bridges that digital social media engagement right into the game experience itself.
Okay.
So it creates this really cohesive environment where the book, the challenge, the game, they all reinforce each other. It's a whole learning adventure across platforms.
So tying this all together then, it's clear From Trouble to Triumph isn't just one thing.
Yeah.
They've really built this holistic ecosystem, haven't they?
Absolutely.
From the book that started it all to these real-world challenges and now this pretty innovative game coming up. It seems focused on empowering young entrepreneurs by making knowledge easy to get, skills practical.
And making those aha moments genuinely engaging.
Right. Not like reading a dry textbook at all.
And the impact of mixing storytelling, practical business lessons, digital fun, and gamification. It's just a really powerful way to teach vital life skills. Financial literacy, resilience, creative problem solving.
It really is immense.
Yeah.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. What does it really mean for the next generation to be able to practice feeling, to practice overcoming business hurdles and making financial choices in a game like this. Using those failure mechanics in a safe space before they ever step into the real entrepreneurial world. Just imagine the confidence, the skills they could build by learning through, well, calculated failure.